Okay, at this time, we're going to begin the meeting. Adequate notice of the February 28th meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Publics Meeting Act by posting written notice and agenda of the meeting on the bulletin board in the Municipal Building 1000, and by hand delivering, mailing, or faxing such notice and agenda to the following newspapers: the Hanover Eagle, Morris County Daily Record, the Star Ledger, and by filing the same with the Township Clerk.
On roll call, Committeeman Schleifer.
Present.
Committeeman Bruno.
Here.
Committeeman Capola.
Here.
Deputy Mayor and Committeeman Ferramasca.
Here.
And Mayor Francioli is excused and away this evening.
Thank you, Joe. At this time, I would like all to stand and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Our first order of business tonight is one of recognition of special service. And we're very proud to commend Mr. Peter Monteverdi upon retirement as coach of the Hanover Township wrestling program. And at this time, I would like to invite Committeeman Bruno to read a plaque in terms of commemoration of this.
Thank you, John. I thought everyone was here to learn more about how our government works and perhaps discuss affordable housing or something, but it's only when there's sports on the agenda that everybody turns out. I do have the pleasure of knowing Pete, but I had to ask around a little bit to find out about some of his wrestling and coaching accomplishments. So I'll read a combined version of what I've gotten. Pete started coaching 15 years ago. He had just moved to Hanover Township and saw an ad asking if anyone was interested in helping coach wrestling. His oldest son, Donovan, was just an infant. Peter answered the ad and, along with Fred Engelberger, Steve Godine, and Ed Levinstone, started coaching our wrestling team. Peter did not even have a child in the program yet. As we just noted, Donovan was an infant, not yet wrestling. But his passion for wrestling made him answer that ad. He began coaching while the team was in the Tri-County League. A decision was made that the team then moved to the Passaic Valley League, ultimately the Northern Jersey League. So I guess they've been wrestling all over the state. Pete then moved the wrestling team to wrestle only in the North Jersey League, and the one-loss record was also submitted to me, and it took me a little while to kind of add things up here. But the highlight that I see of Pete's volunteer wrestling career here in Hanover, since the 2005-2006 season, the dual meet record stands at 84 wins and 12 losses, which is certainly very admirable. And I believe we also have 3 Whippany Park wrestlers who will be competing in the regional tournament this weekend. No doubt as a result of some of the things that Pete has taught them. So now it's my pleasure to read the plaque that we'll be presenting. And I'm sure his wife, Erin, is happy that not only is Pete being honored, but now he'll be home for dinner a lot more often. Presented to Coach Pete Monteverdi, the father to 3, but mentor, coach, and friend to thousands, in recognition of 15 years of dedication and commitment to the Hanover Township Recreation Wrestling Program and achieving incredible results, over 100 varsity victories and 4 league championships. Presented by the Township Committee, Township of Hanover, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, February 28th, 2013. Pete, would you come on up? Turn out like this, Pete. You might have to reconsider. I don't know. A lot of people are going to miss you here. Pretty good part. I'll tell you the picture. don't need a microphone.
I just wanted to, hello? I just wanted to say a few words to everybody. I just want to say how I'm honored and humbled for this showing of support coming out and enjoying my retirement. Just want to mention a few people without getting specific, not people, but groups of people without naming anybody specific. I just want to thank the mayor, the town council for doing this for me and allowing me to run a very successful program this whole time. And I'll tell you one thing, we are the envy of our league because of the facilities that we have and you allow us to use, and I appreciate that very much. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have this success. I want to thank the Rec Commission, past and present, for helping me and supporting me this whole time, and the council, the Recreation Council as well. There are a lot of coaches that I've had out there, past and present, that I've worked with, that became my friends, helped mentor me, they taught me, and guided me in the right way. There are plenty of parents that I very closely to run this program and make it successful, and I appreciate that. And there are a lot of wrestlers, past and present, that I appreciate, that fuel the success of this program, and kids join this to be like the other kids, that like there's 3 kids that are going to the region. Kids want to be there, so I appreciate that. Then I got to thank my friends that always supported me in the different events that I ran. I appreciate that for everybody coming. And most of all, I got to thank my family, my wife, Erin, my son Donovan, Aiden, and my daughter Kira. It's been 15 years of stress and pressure and good times and bad times, and they were always on my side, and I thank them very much. I just want to thank the town and the Rec Commission once again, and you got to know when it's time to move on, and this is my time to move on, and I appreciate everybody supporting me and coming out, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you once again. At this time, I'd like to get a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved. Second?
Okay? At this time, if there's any member of the public who wishes to address the Township Committee, please come to the center podium and please state your name and your address for the record.
Hi, Fred Miola, 83 North Baylor Avenue, and I'm stopping here to find out if anything has ever been decided on what we do about the parking situation over by 2228 Whippany Road. Now that the bridge is open, the situation is a problem again. The neighbor is insisting on parking the car right up against the curb. When I called the police and they came out, they told me that they were told not to write tickets. So is this thing going to get resolved, or maybe we just take down those signs and we all can park right off the curb? You know, I mean, this thing is supposed to have been worked on for the last 2 years. You know, they wrote 2 tickets. The one time they didn't even know where the signs were, so the court threw it out. And the second time they wrote a ticket, they didn't even show up. So, I mean, is this going to be resolved, or are we going to wait until there's an accident and somebody gets killed coming out of my driveway?
Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention. We will look into this and we will provide an answer as to what our findings are on the issue. I recognize that this has been an ongoing issue, and we are concerned as well with the public safety matters associated with it.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Peggy Esposito, 344 Whippany Road. I'm here tonight with my husband and my mother-in-law. For those of you who don't know us, we have Richard's Stand here in Whippany on the corner of Whippany and Tudor Knolls Roads. Our stand has been family-run for over 75 years, and there has been some type of business on that property for many, many years before that. I noticed on our way in here that there was a little display out there about the Ford Mansion. We are also Ford descendants, not myself, but my husband and my mother-in-law. And You know, we've been in this town for, you know, a few hundred years. The Fords helped build Washington headquarters, helped build the Monroe Chapel. So we are having a problem with the houses on Slattery Lane making complaints, and Miss L.D. Simone pretty much harassing us. She is now stating that she is going to start fining us. We have tried to comply, you know, ourselves and our tenants that we have. That's the problem, is the, you know, the truck parking and the building that we rent out. And we were here before the houses were built on Slattery Lane, and the board did recognize that there was, you know, truck parking and, you know, landscape, masonry, you know, that kind of business going on the property, because we knew this was gonna, you know, be a problem, and it has. So we would like somehow to get this problem resolved. I mean, again, we have tried to comply, and every time it's, you know, been, you know, unsatisfactory to her. You know, all three of us are ill. My mother-in-law was in the hospital in rehab for 3 months this summer. I am battling cancer.
Against congested heart failure.
And needs a heart valve replacement. We're under so much stress, emotionally and financially.
And just whacking us. She's crazy.
Yeah, she starts finding us. We're, you know, we're not going to be able to handle this. And if our tenants move out, we're going to lose everything. So, I forget you have your help trying to resolve this problem.
We're very sorry to hear the health challenges your family is experiencing at this time. And what we will do is we will contact the building department to try to find out more learning associated with this. But at this evening, at this present time, I don't think there's any member of the committee who is familiar enough with the actions that you're describing for us to provide you a commentary.
As long as, you know, it can be looked into, and we can try to resolve this somehow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wishing to address the committee at this time?
Hi, my name is John Papa, 11 Hubert Street in Whippany, and I'm here tonight because I understand that our committee had a meeting with our superintendent, Ms. Grassi, in regards to the athletic fields. And, you know, I know personally that the East Hanover and Florham Park boards have all been on the record as supporting this project, and I think a lot of the people here are not really only here for Coach Pete, who is a phenomenal coach and a phenomenal person, but we're all here to represent that we want our board to support this project as well. And we'd love for your support and to be public and vocal about it. So the vote's coming up pretty soon, and I think we're the only board that hasn't supported the project yet.
I don't think it's fair for the members of this committee to voice either for or against a referendum issue that exists in another taxing jurisdiction. For example, if there were an issue that was on a referendum for the fire company, I don't think it would be right for this board, as a member of this board, to influence that referendum issue. So, as we all are independent entities, the Board of Ed is an entity unto itself, the fire jurisdictions are entities in themselves, they're all independent taxing jurisdictions. That's the only reason why I think Hanover has taken a position on it like that. However, with that said, I think that Mr. Bruno will be sharing some perspective on this issue.
Okay. Well, I think that's why a lot of people are here. We're just looking to get either your opinions or whether it's the board support or as our elected politicians, like where do you guys stand as representing us as the public? You know, we would love to hear from you, I'm sure.
I think we had a very good presentation provided to us. In that presentation, the members of the board, the superintendent was here, provided us with a very good overview as the conditions of the field. And I think the Township Committee is familiar with the condition of that field. I think that there were issues raised with respect to the safety. There were issues raised in terms of the needs in terms of compliance with ADA requirements, questions with respect to the integrity of the bleachers. So I think there was a very good informative presentation that was provided to us. There was an opportunity for members of the committee to ask questions associated with it. There were also members of the Board of Ed, in terms of one of the coaches, spoke as well. There was information provided to us with respect to illumination issues, because I know illumination is a very, very sensitive issue to individuals, and I think that the illumination that was presented to us is state-of-the-art and was shown not to negatively impact. So I can share with you that if another member
Might be a good time to read
has
this into the-
something, but I think Mr. Bruno has something he'd like
Yeah,
to
maybe it's a good time
That's all we
to...
can ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The mayor unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, but he did, we have corresponded, I've corresponded with him several times, and he did respond with a note and asked me to read this into the record, so maybe I'll do that now, and certainly we can speak about this personally, but as John mentioned, this is not a committee issue per se. So this is from Ron Francioli, the mayor. At a special election to be held this March 12th, you will be asked to vote on the subject of improvements to our regional high school athletic fields and the cost thereof to be funded by a bond issue. Many of our neighbors have asked my personal opinion, and of course Ron is writing this letter, on this, and I offer the following. The upgrades and improvements requested by the regional school board involve upgrading the surfaces of the existing playing fields, spectator bleachers, and critically needed lighting. The plans and specifications for these improvements have received a courtesy review from the Hanover Township Planning Board, who are satisfied these improvements would not negatively impact the immediate neighborhoods. The Township Committee has also been provided with a comprehensive briefing on the project, which included a detailed needs assessment. I make no comment on each committeeman's opinion. When asked personally, I find the upgrades to be justifiable and, if left unattended, only costlier. Before voting, take note of the following. Hanover, the municipal government, remains with no bonded debt. While this is admirable for the municipal government, the school's requirements are not the same. Consider this. If there is a need to borrow, there's no doubt that bond rates are at an all-time low, and borrowing at this time can be extremely advantageous. Having said that, improvements that will last for the length of time the bonds are issued for are worth your consideration. So a lot of this is from the business perspective. That's just good financial management. Questions? Will these improvements add to my property values? The answer is yes. Schools are one of the leading reasons a family selects a community like Hanover. And athletic facilities are more and more foremost consideration. Will this raise my taxes? The answer is also yes, but slightly. In my opinion, only for the short term. Hanover's rateable base is growing at an ever-increasing rate, and so are our commercial income levels. Commercial taxes will shortly exceed our residential taxes. Who will benefit from this the most? All of us, but certainly our students and young athletes. In either event, there is no sidestepping the need to maintain all the facilities in our community that serve all of us. Athletic facilities, parks and recreational facilities, streets, utilities, they all must be maintained, or the cost of ignoring them will only mount up. The decision is yours, Hanover. Some will oppose this on the basis of cost. Understood. Others will support it for the same reason, but that of lowering the cost of long-term maintenance while adding value to the Hanover facilities. More information to help you make an informed decision can be obtained through the Regional Board of Ed offices in East Hanover. I highly suggest you acquaint yourself with all the facts. Mayor Ron Francioli. So having said all that, I think I'll go on record with my own personal opinion as a parent, a taxpayer, and a resident, not necessarily from a committee perspective, but I'm also in support of it for several reasons, namely the fact that I don't think turf fields are a luxury anymore. I mean, if you travel to any town in Morris County, you'll see that not only is there one turf field at the high school, but there's multiple turf fields. And it's not just a glamour To have a turf field, I think the big benefit is the fact that the kids can play on it when it's raining, when the grass field would otherwise be ruined. Plus, if we can get lights in there, the fields can be used in the fall after 5 o'clock when the sun goes down. So, again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the committee. Everybody's got their own opinion. But since I'm in this forum and the mayor took the time to write this letter, I figured I'd add a few comments of my own. Thank you.
Thank you, Committeeman Bruno. If there are any other members of the public who would like to express their questions, thoughts to the committee at this time, please come to the center. Okay, seeing none. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to add a point on this. As I spoke with Mr. Herbert, they presented at I asked them to come to the Republican Club, and they also got an invite from the Republican president, who made the presentation to them. You know, maybe not always the reception is going to be as positive as you would like, but the point is the presentation was made. Personally, myself, I represent, as a member of the Township Committee, the seniors in this town. I'm their liaison. I'm also liaison to the school board. So that kind of puts me in a position of one or the other. So I also find that on my block, there's a number of seniors, and there's a number of younger folks who have Barbara, signs by their houses, which is fine. I think that's the way you should do it. And as I told Jim, and as I told Jerry Frieda, that, you know, at this point in time, the most important thing is getting the vote out. When I attend my senior meeting, I will not say anything against it. When I say attend the board meeting, I will not say anything in any other way about it, one way or another. I happen to be just in the middle of both groups, but I think the most important thing is you've got an election that's coming up on the 12th from 7 in the morning to 9 in the evening. And right now, I would probably say that majority of folks already have their mind made up, so it's important that you get the vote out. Okay? That's going to be a busy day, and if you want to see this passed, I think your fields are definitely in terrible shape. I think the track is in terrible shape. I know that we just recently, I was able to help the band get money for uniforms. So in this particular case, it's an important issue, and I think what you have to do is get the people out to support you on March the 12th.
Thank you, Mr. Capola. Okay, if there are any other members of the public who wish to address the committee, please come to the center. Seeing none, at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to close this portion of the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, if there are any members of the who are here tonight who would like to continue on with us, we'd love to have you here, but we also understand that you're very busy people, and we thank you for coming out tonight to participate.
So much for
That's how to clear the room.
I know. We just got to look into it, find out what's going on, what's taking place. It's a sad situation. It is.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you. Great job.
Congratulations. God bless you. All the best.
Congratulations.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a crowd. Big crowd left. Just to everybody's sticking around.
It's the rallying cry.
Can I say it any other way?
Sure.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the approval of the Township Committee reorganization meeting January 1st, 2013, and the January 10th, 2013 regular meeting. May we have a motion on approval?
moved.
So moved
Second.
by Mr. Fermaska, seconded by Mr. Schleifer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So approved. As we continue, we have department reports were available for public inspection, and they include reports from the police department, the construction office, the property maintenance officer, the chief municipal finance officer, and also the Department of Public Works, Buildings and Grounds, and Park Maintenance. And all those reports are available for public inspection. Our first ordinance this evening, ladies and gentlemen, for public hearing and final passage is ordinance number 8-13, authorizing a 1.5% increase in the appropriation limit of the 2013 current fund budget and establishes a cap bank, all in accordance with state statute at NJSA 40A:4-45-14. We have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the February 21st issue of the Daily Record. At this time, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno.
Second.
Second by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 8-13? Hearing none, seeing none, may we have a motion to close the public
So
hearing?
moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Capola, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
Now, on adoption, excuse me, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover authorizing a 1.5% increase in the appropriation limit of the Township's calendar year 2013 current fund budget, and further establishing a cap bank, all in accordance with state statute at NJSA 40A:4-45.14, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the March 7th issue of the Morris County Daily Record. May we now have a motion on adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Schleifer, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
So adopted. Pass them on to you. Okay, ordinance number 9-13. This ordinance would reduce the 2% per $100 of assessed valuation dedicated open space tax rate and reduce it to 1/2 cent per $100 during calendar year 2013 only. And we have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the February 21st, 2013 issue of the Daily Record. And at this time, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing? So moved by Mr. Capola,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Bruno and Mr. Schleifer. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to speak on ordinance number 9-13? Hearing none, seeing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by
Second.
Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola. And Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
On adoption now, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, reducing the 2 cent per $100 of assessed valuation dedicated open space trust fund tax rate to 1/2 cent per $100 of assessed valuation during calendar year 2013 only, and further authorizing the Township's Chief Municipal Finance Officer to collect the 1/2 cent dedicated tax, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the March 7th issue of the Daily Record in accordance with law.
Mr. Giorgio, before we take a vote on this, I would just like to have Mr. Esposito provide us with some background as to the rate and the relationship of that rate versus the assessment, as to the whys behind that and the consistency with our overall commitment to open space.
Originally, when the rate was put into effect at 2 cents, was before a revaluation, we were around 50% of value. Once we did the revaluation, the assessed value is now at 100% and basically doubled. So if we were to keep the 2 cents as is, we would actually be collecting close to some $350,000, almost twice which we originally established when the 2 cent rate was established. So to compensate for the ratio and the new assessed values, we've lowered it to ½ cent to stay in line with what we've been over the last few years.
Thank you, Mr. Esposito. Does anybody have, any members of the committee have any questions about this?
Okay, thank you. Hearing none, may we have a motion on adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Bruno, second by Mr. Capola. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Ferramasco.
Aye.
So adopted. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have for introduction this evening 2 ordinances. The first is docketed as ordinance 10-13. This is an ordinance authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with the Hanover Township Little League for the operation of the Blackbrook Park concession stand commencing April 21st, 2013 through August 31st, 2013. This ordinance will be further considered for public hearing and final passage at a meeting of the Township Committee on the 14th of March at 8:30 p.m. here in the main meeting room at the Municipal Building. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard will be given the opportunity to speak. It is further directed that the ordinance and the notice of introduction will appear in full in the Morris County Daily Record in accordance with law. May we now have a motion on introduction?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno,
Second?
second by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Ferramasco.
Aye.
So introduced. We now have ordinance number 11-13 is an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover authorizing the replacement of the filter media systems, that's the filtration systems, for the main pool and the wading pool at the Bee Meadow Swimming Pool facility, and further appropriating the sum of $20,000 from the Swimming Pool Enterprise Capital Account, and that's a separate account apart from the township, all sustained by membership fees for the year 2013 and all prior years for the financing of the project. It is further resolved that the Township Committee will conduct a public hearing on the 28th of March at 8:30 p.m. here in the main chambers, and at that time, any person wishing to speak concerning the ordinance will be given the opportunity to speak. The ordinance and the notice of introduction will appear in full in the Morris County Daily Record in accordance with law. May we now have a motion on introduction?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno.
Second?
Second by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call for introduction, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Ferramasco.
Aye.
So introduced. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have any additional ordinances for introduction at this time. On page 2, as we continue, we have the introduction of the 2013 current fund budget. And I'll just state for the record that the 2013 estimated tax rate for the local budget only, and I want to emphasize that, not including the county, the regional, the local school districts, will only increase by 1.93%. And we had a very vigorous budget session on February 3rd, and we were able to pare the budget down. We cut $1,088,000 from that budget, and we brought down the tax rate so that it'll stand only at an increase of 1.93% for the local rate only. The budget on introduction on the main items are as follows. The appropriation within caps, that's the municipal purposes, $17,561,021. The appropriation excluded from the caps for municipal purposes, $2,970,238. The total general appropriations will be $23,526,822.60. Less anticipated revenues other than the current property tax, which is surplus miscellaneous revenues, receipt from delinquent taxes. That's $8,412,984. And the difference, the amount to be raised by taxes for support of the municipal budget only, for the local tax purposes, $15,113,838.60. The budget will be introduced this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a public hearing will be held on the 28th of March at 8:30 p.m. here in the main chambers. And once again, during the public hearing, any person wishing to be heard concerning the 2013 current fund budget will be given the opportunity to speak. The Chief Municipal Finance Officer is authorized and directed to advertise the synopsis of the budget in the Daily Record in accordance with law. So at this time, may we have a motion to introduce the budget and also to establish the public hearing date of March 28th, 2013.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capola and Mr. Schleifer on roll call for introduction. Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
I'm sorry, and Mr. Capola.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we have public hearing with regard to person-to-person transfer of an alcohol beverage license, license number 1412-36-033-001. This is the Merit Hospitality Limited Liability Corporation, trading as the Hanover Marriott Hotel, located at 1401 Route 10, Whippany, to ISBI Hanover Hotel Limited Liability Corporation, trading as the Hanover Marriott Hotel at the same location. We'll note for the record that we asked all the departments, the police department, construction official office, the fire department, and the health officer to submit reports and whether or not they would have any objections on the transfer of the license. We've received memos from each of the department heads stating they are satisfied with all the paperwork on the transfer of the license. So in keeping with protocol, may we have a motion to open the public hearing if anyone wishes to be heard concerning this license?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno, second by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Is there anyone wishing to be heard concerning the transfer of this liquor license? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by
Second.
Mr. Capola, second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Now, on the resolution, this is a resolution of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover approving a person-to-person transfer of plenary retail consumption license number 1412-36-033-001, previously held by Merit Hospitality LLC, trading as Hanover Marriott Hotel at 1401 Route 10, Whippany, to ISBI Hanover Hotel LLC, trading as Hanover Marriott Hotel at the same location. May we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno,
Second.
second by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
and Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue, we have the resolution portion as a consent agenda. There are no additional resolutions added to the consent agenda on resolutions. Are there any questions from members of the governing body concerning any of the resolutions at this time? Hearing none, seeing none, may we have a motion on the approval of the resolutions by consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schleifer,
Second.
second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
And also, we have raffle applications also to be taken as a consent agenda. Raffle applications 2636 and 2637, Notre Dame of Mount Carmel Roman Catholic Church, Operation Appalachia. Raffle application 2638, Parents for the Advancement of Girls Gymnastics. And raffle application 2639, the Whippany Rotary Club. Are there any questions about the raffle applications? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion on the raffle applications as a consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Bruno, second by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
So approved. Mr. Chairman, members of the Township Committee, that clears the agenda of the Business Administrator, Township Clerk, and I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Giorgio. At this time, are there any members of the Township Committee that have additional business that they'd like to comment on? Yes,
I have a
Mr. Paul.
couple of points I'd like to make as far as announcements. The commissioners, fire commissioners just had their election. Cedar Knolls elected Maria Florio and Tommy Quirk, and their reorganization meeting is going to be on March the 6th. Whippany, Ron Barr, and Mike Mahalko were reelected, and I believe their election is going to be the second Monday, which is, I think, March 11th. Veterans Alliance has got their schedule all set up for the parade. The festivities will begin here at the community center at 7 o'clock with breakfast for residents or whoever would be attending, and they also have transportation over to Whippany Park High School. On the school board side, I attended a full day session at the police academy, and last night I also attended a safety panel discussion over at the Morris County Library on school violence. While at the police academy, Detective Seeley was there, and while at the Morris County Library, Patrolman Martinez was there. Both of these areas had huge attendance. It was very well attended. A lot of good communications came out of it. I'm only hoping that it can be carried forward in order to help this issue, especially dealing with gun control and school violence. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Capola. At this time, we'd like to open up to members of the public. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, at this time, if there's any members of the public who are in chamber who would like to address the Township Committee, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Good evening. I'm Barbara Ames, 6 Cove Lane Road. I just wanted to, kind of a question. I've had a conversation with more than one of you, I think, about an issue in the past. I'd spoken with you about the tree ordinance in town and about the sign ordinance, which you have, I believe last time I heard you were going to be looking at that again. Because I'm looking at them both from the perspective of property rights, and we want to keep town you know, clutter-free and we all love trees, but I know I've spoken to some of you about my concern that the tree ordinance infringes on personal property rights. Had a conversation here before, and the engineer, you know, expressed the town's concern that if you enlarged a deck and dug holes under the drip line of a tree, that you damage the tree roots, and therefore your deck would, or property addition would not be approved. A lot of people, I think, are becoming increasingly aware of the balance that needs to be struck between preserving the environment, which we all want to do, and preserving property rights. The sign ordinance, which I know you were good enough to reconsider upon some concern that was expressed, I have concerns about that from a property rights perspective too, as well as just the issue of political signs and whether you should be able to have them and when and how long and all that. But, you know, the town has expressed, has put restrictions on how close you can put it to the street, how long you can have it there, and that is property that you do own, that you pay taxes on, et cetera. So from a property rights perspective, I just would like to raise that concern and just ask you, is there any thought about relooking at that tree ordinance and the sign ordinance from the property rights perspective?
The tree ordinance has been reevaluated from a property rights perspective, and I know that it has been reissued. I also met with the engineering department, spoke with them about it, and we have not had any instances where we have in any way negatively impacted, from a practical standpoint, any homeowner.
Does that mean nobody has applied for an
No, that does not mean that no one has applied. That means that from a practical implementation standpoint, no homeowner has been negatively impacted by that.
Well, but if they were to want to expand a deck or build one under the drip line of a tree, they would be prohibited by the current ordinance, would they not?
Theoretically, that might occur. However, theoretically speaking, their homeowners insurance company may be encouraging them to make certain that there's a proper distance from the home of the tree to begin with. So I think this is a gray area which we're in, and I think that from an engineering standpoint, having spoken with the engineering standpoint and shared with them the concerns about property rights, we don't have an instance to share with you at this point where we've negatively impacted anyone.
Okay, what you're saying perhaps is that the insurance companies are supporting the same kind of policies then that might be supported by a town were to impose restrictions on homeowners for doing with their property, specifically to do with trees.
Yes, I agree with you. Insurance companies are ones who have liability. They take on the risk. If the tree falls down and lands on your deck, they have to pay that out, and I think that they're reflecting that risk in their coverage, and they're advising homeowners associated with that issue as to what their options are. So,
but I guess what you're suggesting is that they might charge them more money, perhaps if your house or your
I can say personally that I was told that if I did not remove such and such trees, that you would go out and get yourself a new homeowner's policy because we're not going to cover you anymore. So I had a choice of, do I take the tree down or do I get another insurance company?
And if I can just interject, Barbara, I had a personal experience with my own property. I put some solar panels on my house, and I had the same concerns. I'm saying, what's this going to do for the tree ordinance? And it was kind of, it really didn't impact me whatsoever. I had to take some trees down to get the optimum performance out of the panels. I had enough trees. If I didn't have enough trees, I could plant newer trees on the property. So it wasn't a difficult choice. It didn't seem like it was going to be a burden on my experience. It wasn't a burden on my experience. So I was able to take some trees down to optimize my solar panel system. I called our engineering department and said, what do I do? And it didn't seem to be an issue. And if it was an issue, I was told at the time, you have enough trees on the property according to our ordinance, because I have a lot of trees on the property. If you didn't, you would need to plant some in different areas. And Jerry, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was the impression I got when I was going through that process with them, to get the permits and to get permission to do that.
Yeah,
So-
that's correct. I don't know of any instance where, obviously, we've never denied, if an applicant needed to expand a home or a deck, sometimes the tree is impacted, and the property owner, may be required to remove the tree because either the tree is going to be damaged, severely damaged during the construction, he has to remove the tree. Be aware that also our ordinance allows one tree without any obligation to plant for a homeowner. Now, if there were multiple trees that needed to be taken down, there's other steps,
Yeah, I had to take multiple trees down.
Right, and there are fees, as I understand, if you choose to take
There was no
down-
fee.
Sorry?
I had no fee in my particular case, because I was very concerned, what's the cost is gonna be?
Yeah,
And in my case, it had to do with the size of the trees.
Caliper, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and I guess I didn't have the large enough,
Right, but your ordinance does provide for a certain size of trees, more than one tree, I believe it is, per year, for there to be some fee to remove that tree.
right, so at that point, I would have a choice. Do I do the project 2 or 3 years from now when I get my one tree a year, or there was a lot of choices, and it didn't seem to be a problem, from a homeowner's perspective.
Okay, but your engineer confirmed when I asked this question a couple of months ago, perhaps, sir, that it was you, I'm not positive.
I don't
that-
recall, it might have been maybe my assistant or
I'm not
someone
sure.
else, yeah.
That if someone wished to expand, they specifically said if you wanted to dig new holes and put new posts in, that you would be prohibited from doing that. So I'm pleased, I guess I'm pleased to see that
not
that hasn't
prohibited.
happened, but it seems to me that your ordinance provides
No,
for that possibility.
I think, you as a property owner have every right to remove every tree on your property. Now, there are certain steps that you have to comply with that ordinance. There might be a tree fee that then is triggered, but
Well,
no
I'm
one's,
just
no
asking
one's
if you
saying.
wish to leave
you're-
this tree is my point. That's my question, because whoever the gentleman was saying that would be prohibited to dig more posts, expand a deck if it was under the drip line of a tree. Perhaps you don't want to remove the tree, because you like the tree. Trees are nice, right? We like trees. We like to sit under their shade. And
Yeah, I'm not familiar how it does, but it seems now that you're getting to when you do a what-if like that, James, it might be a
it's
good
not
idea to
what if.
remove the
If
tree
I-
whether you like it or not, because you don't want to
If I had a tree right by the
damage
side of my house,
it.
will you go down my street, between my street and Whippany Road, and there's only about 25, 30 houses, I can find at least 6 or 7, because I looked a few months ago, where they are under the drip line of a tree.
No, I don't disagree with that, but what I'm saying, if you're gonna, in this scenario you presented to us, if you build a deck and it's gonna be in the drip line, you might damage the tree over time. I don't think our.
No, the engineer was suggesting that. I was not suggesting that. I was saying that that's ridiculous. But the engineer suggested that you might damage the roots of a tree, so therefore that would be a problem. I'm reflecting his comment.
I'm just from a practical standpoint, I said, it sounds like it would create a problem, and you might not want to purposely do that. Even if you like the tree, you don't want to create a situation, a safety hazard. And I think that's the basis of how we set up our building codes and our ordinances.
I don't want to belabor this. I disagree with it if you think that a couple of post holes are going to destroy a tree. I don't mean to belabor.
Yeah, that's
the
a
point.
different, yeah, that's a different
But
scenario.
I just raised this as concern because there are fees to take down trees, and the issue is what rights you have over the control of your property. And not to get into a whole other issue, we realize that there's a large movement in this country to limit property rights in the name of the environment and impose restrictions on our rights. It's happening all over America in all aspects of our society. Environment and our property rights is just one area. You and I can all enumerate other areas where property rights are being stomped on. So I just raise it as an issue because, to my reading, it's somewhat of a concern. That's all. And secondly, I just understand there is perhaps another opening on the green team. Is that not full right now?
No, I believe they're all open. There's no limit on
The
the
green team has an opportunity. I ask probably at least every other meeting if there's anybody who would like to be involved with the green team to please come out and volunteer.
Okay, well, I would put my name in for consideration if
Thank you.
there's
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you
out
very much.
and raising awareness for property rights, which are sacred to the
Right.
individual, rights of the individual. Thank you.
Okay. Is the sign ordinance then being reconsidered anytime?
The sign ordinance is not, that we got A priorities, Bs and Cs,
Right,
and that's
that's
probably a C,
Right,
given
okay.
all the other things that are going on.
Right.
And the only commentary I'll say in regards to signs are, we just need to be careful as to the placement of signs, so the signs do not interfere with line of sight. That would be an issue.
Right, well, that from a property rights perspective, that, that also is a little bit of
Sure.
an issue. And just, if you just would consider that when you reconsider the sign ordinance.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other members of the public at this time would like to address the committee? Please come to the center at the podium, state your name and address. Seeing none, at this time, we'll close this portion of the meeting. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there a motion? Pleasure of this board to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good evening and thank you. That concludes this evening's meeting. Okay. However, the workshop responsibility continues. Thank you, Joe.
How would you like to sign?